Have you ever felt like eating at night just feels safer? Like during the day, you're tightly holding on to control, but in the evening, it feels a lot easier to just slightly let go? Maybe you save calories in the morning to allow yourself to enjoy that food later at night. Over the years, I've noticed that a lot of my clients deal with this too. And if you're dealing with this as well, you're not alone. So if you want to know why overeating at night or feeling hungry at night happens, if you want to know why it's actually possibly problematic and how to break free, strap on your seatbelts. Let's get to that content. Reason number 1, the scarcity mindset. When we believe food is scarce and we only have a limited amount of food available to us every single day, chances are we want to make it worth it. Chances are we naturally want to save it up, use it, enjoy it when we're able to make the most out of it. The problem here is that while we're saving up those calories and not having those meals earlier on in the day, we end up getting hungrier and hungrier, and naturally those cravings increase and that preoccupation with food increases. We need food and our body is sending us those signs. Or maybe during the day you don't notice those signs, but at night you definitely do. Maybe at that time we feel over-hungry. Maybe we overeat. Maybe we feel guilty for overeating and reduce our intake just a little bit more the following day, perpetuating that cycle, staying stuck in that trap. Which brings me to point number 2, the illusion of control. When we do feel over-hungry, whether or not we overeat, restricting as a result to try and keep the upper hand is not the solution. It's actually what keeps the cycle going. By restricting, by eating less, we obviously increase that drive to eat more. We increase that preoccupation with food. So while delaying meals or eating less throughout the day may give the illusion of control, it actually does the opposite. We get to a point, often later on at night, where we feel over-hungry, where we feel out of control. So we respond by taking more control still. Reason number 3. By delaying meals, by restricting meals, by avoiding facing that discomfort immediately, we keep that cycle going. We postpone those feelings, not erase them. But the tricky bit is, we do experience a bit of relief from that initially. So we do that again and again and again. At the end of the day, this means that we don't face those fears. We're not exposed to those fears. And the only way to push through fears is through exposure. It is the only way to disprove any beliefs we might have in our mind. So be honest with yourself about which fears do exist in your mind. Which questions do float around in there. Are you scared that eating earlier on in the day will mean you eat more overall and gain lots of weight? Or are you scared that eating earlier on in the day will mean that certain other habits or decisions or thought patterns will be impacted? If so, reflect, write this down, and experiment. How does it feel when you do delay those meals? How does it feel when you don't? And actually give your body nourishment earlier on in the day. This can be a great way to contrast the expectation to the reality, and oftentimes we do find that exposure is the best way forward. For me personally, for example, a fear that I had was that if I ate earlier on in the day, I would just end up eating more calories overall, and I would gain lots and lots of weight, and I would get unhealthy. When I actually tried it out and did eat more food earlier on in the day, I found that maybe for some time I did eat a little bit more. My body needed to normalize its weight and obviously needed to ascertain that it was safe. But then I also noticed that I didn't get over hungry quite so easily. I noticed that my hunger cues became a bit more reliable and a little bit more comfortable, less all over the place. So try it for yourself and see how that goes. Reason number 4 for feeling safer at night is that productivity drive. A lot of us in today's society do fall into that productivity trap, Or during the day, we're so busy that we either suppress, ignore, or don't even notice our hunger cues all that much. We're not ever really in a proper rest and digest state, maybe until evening time when we've ticked those tasks off of our to-do list and finally feel safe and able to relax. Problem is, if during the day you haven't really been nourishing yourself sufficiently or noticed your body's needs, now is the time that those cues will come up. Now is the time that it's finally safe to send those cues, and you will end up feeling a lot hungrier or feeling less able to satiate yourself from a meal, leading to more food overall. In addition to these, there's also some biological and even emotional factors at play. Eating at night may feel safer, but also due to our past, where we needed to hunt for food, we might not have been able to eat all day and then had to feast at night when food was more readily available. This still sticks with us. This is still in our genes. When we're in fight or flight during the day, it might not have been adaptive to sit down for a big meal. However, our ancestors would have then had a lot all at once when food was more readily available, to make up for the energy that was missed and to fuel for the day ahead. However, when sitting down for a massive meal right now, feels very guilt-inducing, feels almost shameful, feels uncomfortable, it can be so much easier, more comfortable to simply eat throughout the day. Regular and sufficient meals, so that it's not a matter of not eating at all for hours on end and then eating all your daily calories in one sitting. We don't live in the same conditions anymore today, and we don't have to abide by the same routines. And the thing is, when we do get used to having the bulk of our calories at night, our bodies come to expect it. We fall into these habits, and breaking those habits is going to feel a bit, well, different at first, and different can feel uncomfortable. But uncomfortable does not mean bad. Change is not always a bad thing, and in fact can be very, very helpful. There's quite a few reasons for why you might want to consider this change, and why it could be beneficial to your health and recovering your relationship, your healthy relationship with food again.